Lagosians are now beaming with pride over the new development in the state as President Buhari has inaugurated different projects in the state. From Lekki Deep Sea Port, Imota Rice Mill to Blue Line Rail Transit, among others, the president says it will help to boost the economy and make life easier for Lagos residents. According to the Minister of Transportation, Mua'zu Sambo, the Lekki Deep Sea Port is Nigeria's largest seaport, while the rice mill is expected to generate over 300,000 jobs when it is fully operational. This phase of the Blue Line Rail project is also expected to convey about 250,000 passengers and 500,000 passengers when the whole rail is complete. Joining us to discuss more about these projects is the National Coordinator, Grassroots Movement for Asiwaju Tinubu and Shetima, Dr. Umar Tanko Yakasai. Welcome here.
Thank you.
We also have State Organizing Secretary, APC, Lagos State Chapter, Ayodele Adewale. Welcome here.
Thank you for having me.
These are projects, Mua'zu, but it is also political. How so?
Anyway, good morning all. Every government that comes in has a mandate and a covenant with the people.
Yes.
And the idea is you say a manifesto, like these are the things you want to do, and when you get into governance, you deliver. And so that in the next cycle of election, the people will vote you because you have met those promises you've made. So, delivery of projects, success of these projects are tied to politics, because politics is about promise to the people, and when you get into governance, you deliver. So I think it's a good thing that we are seeing these projects come to fruition, and the people of Lagos and Nigeria in general will benefit from this project.
Somebody said we govern. We campaign in poetry, and we govern in prose. Writing prose is really not exciting, it's not sexy. Coming to this stage of, let's start with the Lekki Deep Sea Port, was not what people call moi. It took a lot of work. Can you take us through what this means in terms of delivering deliverables in terms of the stage between what you call promise and then what you call fulfillment?
There's always a very big gap between idealism and reality. The government of Lagos State did have an idea that they needed to open the ocean economy for the development of the state. And you agree with me that the Apapa port and the Tinkan port, yes, is domiciled in Lagos, but it's not to the full advantage of the people of Lagos in terms of revenue, in terms of business and all of that, since it's controlled by the center, according to our constitution. This is the first time you see a state government working with the federal government to harness the potential of the water economy for them. And it translates into more businesses to come in, more creation of jobs, and more foreign earnings for the government of the state and, of course, the federal government. And it also helps to decentralize concentration, particularly around the Apapa corridor, which again has frustrated the economy of that area because of the horrendous queue lines as caused by the truckers. And you must also understand that during the PDP era and in the dark days of the military era, there was a lot of concession to private owners of businesses to gain advantage at the Apapa port. And that also limited the space within the port. And the technological know-how, especially as it is contemporary all over the world, has been brought to the deep sea port at the Lekki corridor. Yeah. So for Lagos, it's a win-win. For Nigeria, it's a win-win. And for the indigents of the Lekki area, it is also a win-win for them. Real estate will grow astronomically, and various value chain will also increase. And I would say congratulations to the people of Lagos and to Nigerians.
Yeah, it's a very significant thing you said about the Lekki Deep Sea Port. And one of the things I was also expecting you to talk about is the issue that when the Lekki corridor was opened, in those days, during the time of Jakonde, it was just a road. When we got into this republic under Ashiwaju, it was actually not a road. It was actually the pathway to a new city, like to a new civilization. What we have today, can you speak to that? That what we have, what the Lekki corridor is witnessing is another onrush of a new civilization.
You see, the essence of having a leader with a vision is to do what you've said, to see a road and turn it into a city, to see a bush or a farm or a sea that has not been habitable, to convert it into a beautiful city that a lot of people will come in, infrastructure development coming in, such Lekki Deep Sea Port that we're talking about coming on board. He saw it right from the time that he was young, when he was. The beauty of having stayed outside the country is that at a young age, these ideas get ingrained into the brains and minds of young people. And they only wait for opportunity for them to translate these ideas into reality. And that is what has been shown by Asuwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, that his young years in the US and having come back to Nigeria and participated in the struggle for the return of democracy, and also having the opportunity to serve as governor of Lagos State, has seen that this development has to come to Lagos that will benefit the people of this country. And Lekki Peninsula generally, it's what we have seen today. And today, I've been there. I love the scenery, I love the houses, I love the roads, I love the people who go there. And you can wake up in the morning and stroll or do an exercise, and then the economic activities that are booming, the ideas. He set the foundation. And today, what we are seeing is that vision come to light. And it's what we're hoping that Nigeria should benefit from.
You've seen real estates erupt, you've seen businesses erupt, you've seen movements of people from different parts of the country, almost as if we are creating a new subdivision within a state.
Well, you see, the businesses around that area is very advantageous to the business owners because of the free trade zone nomenclature that they have. And I believe that has also attracted a lot of business enterprise to go there because it's almost next to nothing when you talk about taxation and all of that. And its purpose more is to bring in investors, to have free trade within that corridor. Not just that, the infrastructure that was also put in place, the new roads, the concrete road that was put there and opening that access to the what do you call it, the Benin Expressway,
yes.
The congesting the movement around the Victoria Island Lekki corridor,
yes.
is also very good because some people would just have created that and not put an infrastructure to balance that equation.
Yeah.
And not forgetting that they're also opening something similar at the Badagry end.
Yes.
Another port is also coming there.
Yes.
You already have, what do you call it, an oil exploration activity going on there. The road is also very open. Then you also plug in the train that will also move a lot of people back and forth and decongesting the whole area. And the Fourth Mainland Bridge is also coming. That will also open the Ikorodu end.
Yes.
And the whole of Lagos become a very big economic hub.
It's an interesting thing that is going on in Lagos because just as we are talking of the deep sea port there, we're also talking, there's also work going on the airport, on the international airport that is going to come up there. It's almost like you are recreating the state as it is. Now we'll move from there. We'll go to the issue of the blue line. You know, we have the blue line and the rail line. There was a lot of controversy, unnecessary controversy, I would say, when people were saying, "Oh, it was not Asiwaju that started it," as if that is a matter that should create any hubbub at all. But then the matter came out at long last when the governor was giving a speech, and he said, "Yes, we have tape of when the man made a broadcast and was talking about his plan and his dream to create a number of rail stations, about 6 or 8 of them in phases. And we now at the stage where we are trying to get 2, the red and the blue line. There will be many color-coded rail lines in the state as we speak. But yesterday we had the launch of the blue line. This moves from Marina to, is it Amuodofin? And crisscrossing the town, and a journey that will take you 2 hours will probably take you 15 minutes.
What people seem to forget is that when you come in as a governor and you have a blueprint or a development plan that is supposed to span 25 years, it shows vision. And with the economic resources available to state, it will be impossible to implement a 25-year plan within 8-year period. And so therefore, whatever we see that is happening today, all the developments that are coming up and materializing today, are the foundations which have been set by Asiwaju when he came into government in 1999. And not only that, even if you take all other developed worlds, they didn't come to where they are overnight. They had leaders who had vision, come up with a plan, and do their own part within the limited time that they have in governance. And those who come later completed those projects. And that's why today, Sanwo-Olu has given credit to the person whom it is due, and that's Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. 1999 till date, I don't think we've exhausted 25 years. And so therefore, whatever you see happening now is within the blueprint, 25-year development plan put in place by Asiwaju. And I think probably Lagos will have to begin to think of new plans. I hope they have the vision and the leadership to do that.
Yes, and we have to give it. It took phases, because when you dream, it is one thing. Then how you bring it to pass is another. It took stages. It started. They said they had the blueprint part when Asiwaju was in office. Then we started implementation during the time of Babajide Raji Fashola.
Well, the blueprint plan of 25 years have also been reinvented by Mr. Fashola and, of course, the present governor, Governor Sanwo-Olu. The Ministry of Physical Planning is working 24 hours in conjunction with the Ministry of Infrastructure and Budget and Planning. So planning has been something consistent in Lagos. But the most ingenious thing about Asiwaju is that he has been able to keep the longevity of his dream, of his administration, and of course his succession. There's always a succession plan. If you don't do that, then whatever plans you have, there's going to be an interregnum. Yeah. If you allow somebody that is not progressive and productive to just come in between that, the interregnum will be so disastrous, just like cutting power off when a surgery is being carried out. Yeah. So Lagos has been gifted to continue to be in the hands of the progressive, and the plan have continued to sustain. These plans have manifested, we've seen it, and Lagosians are enjoying it. And as we journey on, we're going to see things that have never been seen before in terms of technology coming in. Now, the railway system are going to be run systematically, and it's going to be a cashless thing. So it means that the revenue that will be generated will be accounted for. And this revenue also will be plowed into new system for the benefit of the growth of the state.
And we've seen over the years in a number of states in the country where a governor will start a project and then the successor will abandon it. We see that all the time. And then they will say, oh, they didn't do the work very well. They spent all the money. They didn't do the proper structures and so on. The whole place is defective and so on. We've seen that in a number of states in the country. So we have laudable projects, infrastructure work, maybe it's a hospital, whether it is a road or a bridge, and so on. We discover that because one governor does not like his predecessor, because his predecessor did not like him, the program suffers, the people suffer. What we have seen here is the capacity for governor after governor to follow a blueprint and to know that everything is on course. That people always say that Heathrow Airport was not built by one organization, by one administration. I remember in Denver, Colorado, where I always go in the US, they have a very beautiful airport, one of the most beautiful airports in the world. The idea came from one mayor, and the mayor is nowhere to be found, and work is still going on to improve on that airport and so on. This happened over 30 years ago, that the work on the airport was done. But this is we have a democracy, but democracy also is nothing without development. So that is why we have a democracy that says continuity can also help.
You see, the advantage that Lagos had when they had Bola Tinubu in 1999 is that he had a team, himself and young people who have ideas, who shared in his vision, and he created a political family that have patriotism and the love of Lagos and Nigeria in general. And he ensured that in the years that he ruled for 8 years, he had nurtured the other young people who would take over from him. And those people shared in his dream, shared in the dream of making Lagos a greater Lagos, making Nigeria a greater Nigeria, if given the opportunity. And those people have continued to do what the things that Bola Tinubu had put in place. Now, it takes a great leader to plan for his succession. It takes a great leader to identify talent and grow such talent within the young persons. It takes a great leader to be able to say, come, let's work together, see the vision, share the vision, and ensure that those people get onto the seat. And when they are on the seat, he works with them to ensure that development comes to the people. Lee Kuan Yew ruled for 25 years, 5 years, and he gets re-elected. The beauty of it is that when he was leaving, the person that won that succeeded him was under a shadow secretary, as they call it, and he has been tutelage under Lee Kuan Yew.
Exactly.
And when he emerged, that prime minister asked Lee Kuan Yew to serve in that cabinet for about a period of 5 years, and he agreed. He wasn't there to provide direct implementation, but to provide guidance, and that's what Asuwaju has done to Lagos. And I think Lagos has the greatest benefit for that.
Now,
I hope Kano will be able to.
Kano will do the same thing. Let's talk about rice. This rice project, we were talking about Lake Rice some time ago, during the time of Akinwumi and Bode and so on. This was not just about Lagos for Lagos, but Lagos for Nigeria. Lagos are going in partnership with Kebbi State.
You see, Asuwaju believes that we must be able to feed ourselves. The idea was started when he pulled his brother governors in the Southwest together to form regional integration. It was for a purpose, for economy, for security, and for other sundry matters, including agriculture. By the time the successor came in, they extended it, of course with Asuwaju's guidance, and they formed a partnership with Kebbi State. And Governor Bagudu was very, very handful at that point.
He was even present at the banquet.
So he was there to give that guidance, right? And to give that support for them and give them land as they need. Now, the relationship continued. And Lagos also started developing its own processing plant at that point. And of course, we can see what we have today. But the beauty is that they are going to be producing 2.6 or 2.8 million bags of rice per year. Lagos have a population of over 22 million. So it means that with that rice production, we will have near sufficient rice for the people of Lagos to consume first before we start exporting it, all around. It also means that within the first 2 years to 3, there will be a rapid expansion in order to increase that number so that we can cater for all Nigerians and, of course, start selling it out of the country.
Yeah, but there are some people who raise questions about, do states have to really go into business? Because this is like state entrepreneurship.
What they've done is to create a leverage. You must understand that China also does same for their business enterprise by supporting them to go out of this country, investing in other country, and of course repatriating the foreign funds that they need to increase their own economy and creating jobs and opportunity for their people. So Lagos have also done same, using the fund they have, bringing partners on board, giving the opportunity to Lagosians and Nigerians to ride on. But the beauty is that these things are going to be sustainable because it is a public-private partnership. Okay. So it's never going to die. Okay. It will continue to be in relevance.
Okay, we'll go on a short break, and when we come back, we'll continue on this subject. Welcome back. We're discussing the milestones in Lagos with the commissioning of projects by the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Muhammadu Buhari, projects that completed with great earnestness by the Governor of Lagos State, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, and also projects in collaboration with the federal government. We're talking of the Lekki Deep Sea Port. And then we're also talking of the Imota Rice in Ikorodu, which is a work of tremendous infrastructural marvel by the Lagos State governor. Now, looking at all of these projects, what does that tell you about the earnestness of the governor of Lagos State in getting all of these things done?
It just shows that Lagos is lucky to have Sanwo-Olu as a governor, for him to be able to consistently commit himself to the completion and realization of this project that have been in the pipeline. And other governors would have abandoned those projects and begin to think of creating projects that will be linked to them directly, rather than somebody who comes and says, I started it. That means the man of vision is a great man, he is a great personality to have completed project started by his predecessors without thinking of saying, I will start my own project. So I think we must give him a lot of respect and a lot of credit, and we hope that Lagos will continue to see more of that.
We're talking of the Imota Rice. That's a huge project, but it's taking place in a part of the town which is quite across from Lekki. Now, how do we now bring Lekki on one side, the Korea on the other side together? So some people are saying that maybe the way Lagos is now, we might forget Ikeja, we might forget Mushi, we might forget Oshodi, and so on. How do you respond to that?
Each of those senatorial districts have their own uniqueness, and they have their own strength. Tapping into the agro potential, especially in the green area of Ikorodu, whereby you still have vast land to make use of. So rather than putting it fully into housing project or industrial project, I think the best thing to do is go green, go agric, which they have done and which is their strength. And linking it also, that is why they've thought of the Fourth Mainland Bridge. The Fourth Mainland Bridge is going to go past there. Yeah. And you're going to also have rail line going past there. So moving the goods, linking it to services will be very seamless. And I must commend, like he had done earlier, the governor of Lagos State, for him to continue to carry the baton, because government is a relay. You don't leave the baton at any point if you intend to win the race. And consistently, the successors in Lagos have continued to go along that trajectory. And that goes to show that when Asiwaju becomes the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, after winning the election on the 25th of February, we're going to also see that kind of idea, like he has promised every state, that he's going to build their potential, make them leverage on the potential, and of course, link them to various states so that we'll have equality in development. I was privileged to be at the program yesterday, a meet and greet, organized by the Kano State government, and for the Kano State APC candidate, governorship candidate, where Mr. Yakesai was the coordinator of that program. And the governor did say that he had picked a lot from Lagos, and that was why he did not jettison the program of the past administration, and they have completed their dam. They are now producing energy from that, and Kano will continue to move along the progressive line that was put in place in Lagos. And that is a very wonderful thing, so that governors would stop going cap in hand, begging for peanuts at the center.
I like to think that every relay itself is a victory.
Definitely.
It's an end in itself, because if you want to say the relay, normal relay race is 4, you know, but it is not 4, it is 40, it is 400, it is 4 million. It keeps going on and on and on in time. So every relay should see itself as an end in itself, because once you finish your own part, you have finished your own part. You hand it over, because satisfaction is infinite. Now, talking about that, there's a lot of disruption ahead in development. If you are going to have something like Fort Milan Bridge, you're going to have the red line, you're going to have the purple line, you're going to have the yellow line, and so on. The city is going to have to be dismantled, what they call disruption. Because the Fort Milan Bridge, for instance, you have some estates will be on the way, they have to go down and so on. Something has to be said about Lagosians' capacity to absorb and also accept modernity. If not, if we don't accept modernity, we can't have all of this happening. I mean, houses will have to go down, roads will have to go down, creeks will have to be redesigned, churches we have to think of other places to worship, mosques we have to move elsewhere, and things like that.
People of Lagos and Nigeria should know that the old has to give way for the new. And if development is happening globally and you want to bring it to Lagos, those things that are outdated, those things that are no longer in vogue, must give way for the new things that are of the 21st century to come into play. And that's why we are calling on Nigerians, not only Lagosians, that if you want to experience development, you have to contribute as a citizen. You have to make some sacrifices for the development to take place. You may have an old building, and the only way you can develop skyscrapers is probably to pull down those old buildings. And when we are doing that, there may be some hold-up, there may be some inconveniences, there may be some dust around the environment, but at the end, it's for the betterment of everybody. So I think that development does not come easy. It comes with its own sacrifices that people need to make. And at the end, if we check, if we look at the old pictures of UK, Europe, US, you will think that you are in Ajagule.
Yes.
In those years. But
you look at that of London, for instance.
You would think you are in Ajagule.
You say there was a poem written on London by William Blake, where it say anywhere I go, marks of suffering, marks of woe.
But now you traveled to Colorado and you enjoyed it. I'm sure it doesn't look like Ajagule anymore.
Yeah, in fact, Colorado I went to past month is different from the Colorado of 15 years ago. The new subdivisions, new places, broken places that were regarded as wildernesses have now been taken over by new developments. This is because people must be ready to accept that things cannot become what they are. And some of these things happen. The railway, for instance, they have been giving warnings that if you want to go and steal rail, be careful, because everything is electrified. I hope people are listening to this kind of thing, because it's part of the new things to learn in coming to terms with the new development.
Well, beyond just telling people about the danger that is involved, if you go, close to the rail line, the government of Lagos have also put barriers, huge barriers, very strong ones, anti-rust, metal, and all of that, and it's well caged. And they have also put cameras along that route to keep watching what is happening. Even at Ajagule, that my friend did mention, it's not a wonderful place. New roads, modern roads have come there, sanity have come there, and that is Lagos for you. Lagos is not leaving any corner behind, anybody behind in its development. And development also comes as a situation of population. Because if the place is becoming more populous, definitely the leadership must think very, very deep and very far in order to increase the well-being of the people and create more comfort for them. So, thumbs up for the government of Lagos and thumbs up for everybody.
It's one thing to mobilize. It's something to do development. As I said earlier, Marokomo said, you campaign in poetry, you govern in prose. Mm-hmm. It's one thing to do all of this development. It's another thing for people to mobilize, to let the people know that you have done it. Because it's not enough for you to develop. Because you can perform, and yet you can perform, and yet you do not win election. How do you translate all of this into electoral value? Because that is very important. Because there's politics, as I always say, there's politics of election, there's politics of governance, and there's politics of campaign. There are three kinds of politics. You can campaign well, and you don't do the politics of election, you still lose.
So the reality is that every government must have an outfit that is responsible for televising or publicizing the activities it has done. Don't assume that people will naturally see it and appreciate it. But also the people who traverses this state from one end of the state to another sees this development, and they are the beneficiaries of this development. If I'm moving from this light rail from Marina to Mile 2, I knew the traffic, I knew the inconveniences that people must have passed through. And now you just sit in the train, and in 20, 15 minutes, you are somewhere. And that is enough publicity. But still, people need to hear that the government is also giving it prominence. Also, people who don't go to Lekki and stay in the very far end of Lagos, we don't know the beauty and the sights and sounds of Lekki. And it's the responsibility of the government to also say that. And not only that, how has it translated into the economic benefit of the people and the society? Like this Deep Sea Lekki Deep Sea Port will generate about 300,000 jobs for the people of Lagos and people who are resident in Lagos. This Imota Rice Mill will create another 300,000 opportunities. This light rail will... about 1 million job opportunities are going to be created for the people of Lagos out of 20 million. That's a significant, that's like 5%.
Yeah.
So those are things that the government need to do. And people like us will also sing it when we go back to Kano.
Yeah. Thank you very much. I think we have to wrap it up here. Thank you, gentlemen, for giving us insights into what just happened in Lagos. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.